Welcome back to Pin Pals, the podcast by pin makers for pin makers. Was that cheesy? It's the podcast about enamel pins. I'm your host, Eric from Warrior Pins, and thanks for tuning in. This episode is the 10th episode of Season 2. We successfully doubled the amount of episodes in Season 1, which is pretty cool. 10 straight weeks of new interviews with some of the coolest people in the pin game. So I thought, if that wasn't worthy of celebrating and calling out, I just got word that we've been renewed for Season 3. Boom! How about that? More information on that much later. We don't need to worry about that right now. Exciting, yes, but Season 2 is not over. We still have a bunch of fun interviews to share with you guys, so let's just jump into today's episode. You're going to hear my conversation with Nate from Screaming Pinfidelities. If you're looking for some great insight into how pin makers can really tap into a niche, you're going to want to pay attention, get out those notebooks, and take some notes. Nate is doing an awesome job catering to the pop punk emo world. It's a really big world, but Nate is doing a great job at diversifying his pins while sticking to the niche and just making these cool Blink-182 pins and Say Anything and Dashboard Confessional. Like, they're really cool. And we get into the usual, the pin making process. How do you market pins? How do you get the word out there? What it might be like to vend at an emo night. His pins are really cool, and we do it in an unboxing. We do a live unboxing. Nate was kind enough to send over some pins, so I figured why not unbox them during our conversation. So check that out. Make sure that when you do hear that or see the unboxing, you let me know if you liked it. Leave a comment. Maybe we'll do more of that in the future. The last thing I want to mention is we have a new Buy Me a Coffee supporter. Join me in welcoming Tater from Tater Top Pin Shop. Tater, glad to have you on board. Tater will be joining Pin My Ride and Pins by Charlie as monthly supporters of the podcast. I couldn't be more thrilled. Guys, girls, they, them, he, she, it. We're building a community here, and this is awesome. We're really creating a platform that's incredibly valuable and informative, and I think pretty entertaining to discuss pins and the people and the culture behind it. I mean, it's just fun, cool insight that we all can relate to. It's awesome, and I can't wait to see what the future holds. If you feel like supporting the podcast, please visit our Buy Me a Coffee page. The link will be in the show notes. With that being said, enjoy my interview with my pen pal, Screaming Pinfidelities. I'm going to play you guys out with another original tune that will eventually be released on Spotify under the moniker The Nightly Noodle. Not really trying to promote my music or anything like that. Just having some fun with it. Figured, why not? Really. Well, appreciate each and every single one of you. Thanks again for listening. And remember, it's the little things in life. Welcome to Pin Pals, Nate. How is it going?
Dude, it's going great. Appreciate you asking me to be on here.
Yeah, of course. You got some pretty cool pins that I can personally relate to. So I just saw it as an opportunity, one, to just get to know you, but two, talk music and relive some of like the glory days, as they say.
Absolutely. I think I saw you rocking an early November tee in a story or something, and I thought, all right, man.
Most definitely. They were one of my favorite bands. They were my favorite band growing up. So like all the music that I used to make back in the day, everyone would always tell me, yeah, I could hear like the Ace Enders, the early November influence in that. And I was like, all right, that's pretty cool, But
Nice. Definitely grew up on the old drive-through record DVDs. I think that was like the gateway for early November for a lot of individuals. So
yeah, for sure. I still throw those on from time to time. It's a wild ride. It's fun.
For sure.
All right, Nate. So let's just, let's get to know you. Why don't you tell the listeners who you are and what Screaming Pinfidelities is all about?
Cool. Nate. I'm a husband, father of two, work a full-time job. And then kind of outside of that in my spare time, jumped into the pin world and, threw a spin on a Dashboard Confessional with Screaming Pinfidelities. So I think my focus is really just hitting that pop punk emo culture as my like niche of pins.
I love that. Right off the bat, there is a specific niche, and I think that's also why I was excited to talk to you, because you were someone who's kind of like doubling down on that niche, and that's what you're
For
sticking
sure.
to, and that's typically what works in terms of building a loyal and engaging fan base. So.
Hmm.
I kind of saw that through what you were doing. I was like, I got to have you on the pod. So tell me, what led you into creating Screaming Pinfidelities?
Honestly, for me, kind of my first pin. So I did a tribute to First Date, little pin there. I honestly wanted to get into pins for years, started seeing them on Instagram and, collecting a couple on the side here and there. And, I talked about this pin with my friends for probably at least 2 years, and just never had the courage to do it. And my neighbor, great guy, he actually, my buddy drew the picture and, my neighbor surprised me and he ordered me 50 pins.
Oh, wow.
Just, yeah, he gave me that boost of like, just go and do it. So he surprised me with 50 pins to get started and sort of took off from there.
Oh, wow. So was he an artist and he was able to produce these pins to give to you, or did he buy 50 from you?
He just probably saw, a sponsored ad for, a middleman to make pins, and he reached out and did 50 pins and hooked me up with them to sell on my own. So super sweet of them.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. Can you talk to me about the pin and like some of the features?
Yeah, so the buddy that bought it for me, his name's Wade, and he owns a photography, videography company called Adliv Collective. And then my one buddy, Rod, drew it. And then I've got a guy that I mainly use, a good buddy I grew up playing in bands with. He does a lot of my backing cards. So, I'd say features, your standard pin, rubber backing, boomer right there for you. But, I think my little niche is the backing cards is so important to me. So the First Date video, the van that they're rolling out in the smoke, that's the idea behind the backing card for it.
Yeah. Wow. I love that. That's a really cool way to kind of get into the pin game.
Yeah, for sure. Did that. And then I think, listening to some of your podcasts, definitely used a middleman for, 2 or 3 pins after that. And then I had an old motorcycle that, wasn't riding, having kids, not doing that anymore. So I sold the motorcycle and then, just dumped all the money in making pins.
Nice. Wow. Okay. That's not a story you hear too often on Pin Pals. I like it.
For sure.
How did you use that money when you sold the motorcycle? How was it like divided up? How did you spend it? Was it just all pins?
So for me, I bought an iPad
Okay.
to get Procreate and just start designing things on my own. Starting there, so got an iPad, and then the rest of that, I threw it all to ordering a number of pins and backing cards.
Okay. Very cool. I like that. So tell me, so this is after you have worked with a middleman. At this point, were you contacting a manufacturer? What was the process of getting these pins made once you came in this money?
My last package from the middleman, it had the address, not the address of the manufacturer on it, but like the city or state in China. And so I'm like, I'm just gonna Google this and whatever pin manufacturer comes up, because I think at that time, I wasn't getting hit by pin manufacturers through IG just yet.
Yeah.
So, I rolled the dice and picked a manufacturer and just went with it.
Okay. Cool. And the process was pretty smooth. No hiccups or anything like that.
Yeah, overall pretty smooth. My first pin was really good. And then, after that, I think we all know not every pin's going to be perfect. And, listening to your podcast, there's so much advice, hearing other individuals talk about working with manufacturers, testing, trying it, to really land that quality that you're looking for.
Yeah, it definitely, I would always say never settle for the first one. Even if it's your first pin, definitely reach out to multiple manufacturers. But it sounds like you were, pretty pleased overall with them.
Mm-hmm.
Was there anything special about them, or were they just, your typical 1.5 inch soft enamel?
Yep, exactly. Just 1.5. And that's what your recent podcast, hearing everybody talk about different metals and stuff. I'm like, I'll get there. I'll get there one of these days.
Yeah, it definitely, once you start getting some like pins in that you're like, oh wait, this isn't like how I wanted it to look, then maybe like that's when it's like, okay, maybe I should look into that. It took me a little while to learn a few things. And just recently, I learned that you can just kind of talk to your manufacturer and have them print out the backing cards, put the pins on them, and then put them in like plastic baggies.
Mm-hmm.
5 years I was not doing that. I was wasting all this time, getting my little sister to help, my partner to help, like, pack these orders and stuff.
Yeah.
So it you learn on the way,
Yeah.
It is what it is. It's all good.
I think for me, I kind of love the process. I'm sure, just being small with my orders and things like that, I truly love packaging my pins. It's, I think we all love holding that physical product in your hand that, throw on Netflix and just go to town and start packaging pins. So.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, there is some sort of like solitude. I don't know if that's the right word. When you're just packing orders, you kind of just get into a groove. I love checking in on like the customer history, seeing if they've ordered before, trying to throw in a couple freebies and stuff like that. It's always a good time, because we're an online business, so we don't necessarily have a lot of opportunities to communicate with our customers. There are a couple people on IG who are just like, oh, we're throwing up like the fire symbol, the hands up and stuff like that. And those guys are awesome. But, this is just a fun way to kind of like make their experience with your brand kind of stand out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like it. Very cool. All right. So I can't wait. Nate was kind enough, and I'm sorry if you're listening to this, but I'm holding up a package. Nate was kind enough to send over some pins, and I figured it would be kind of fun to do an unboxing of these pins live. I'm just going to jump right into it. I was like, should I ask you a question? I don't know. I just want to like...
Yeah, can't remember what I was in there, so...
All right, we are opening it up, just going to town, and it is packed. Oof. All right, there's a lot of goodies in here. All right, I'm gonna hold it up and I'm gonna have you describe it. How about that?
Cool. That works.
All right, I think this is your latest release.
So yeah, Little Aliens Exist release. One of my favorite backing cards, threw in a lot of like little hidden details in there. But Tom DeLonge as an alien, so I feel very fitting for his stage of life right now.
This is great. I just want to like open it up. I love looking at like the details and getting close up on the pins.
So with that one, threw in some lyric references, super close. It says case number 182 on one of the files. And then actually the one date on there is Tom's birthday. So, I'm sure for some super fans, if they get it and really take a good look, snuck in a little couple Easter eggs in there.
Definitely. I love that little touch. That is nice. Okay, that is cool. I love, and I wish I could do this more often, and I'm trying to make an effort, but I love just like having a unique backing card for every pin. It really helps kind of paint the picture, tell the story, just make the experience a little bit more unique. I'm guilty of just getting the same backing card printed out in different colors and just using that. But, they're color-coded with the turtles. You order a Mikey pin, you're going to get an orange backing card with that pin. So I think that's kind of like a nice little thing. When you order like a whole set, it's nice and colorful,
Yeah, absolutely.
Moving on. Okay. Definitely one of my favorite bands growing up. This album, Take This to Your Grave, was a banger. Oh, I remember sophomore year. Tell us about this one, Nate. Look at this.
So this was my first pin with the manufacturer.
Okay.
So I did the pin on Procreate, and then my buddy Brother Volcano did the backing card. So, I think the pieces really to match the album as close as I can. So always try to have the name, website, the at Screaming Pinfidelities, put high pin fidelity on there, and just was super pleased with this. Did some blue rubber backings.
Yeah, I like that. Very nice touch.
And I try to name all my pins and, have a pun. So take this pin to your grave. But, some of my first couple pins, the backing card, the back of it doesn't have anything. So, another way to kind of put your brand out there to, if you can put stuff on the back, throw the logo and put a little message. And if you name your pins, put that on there.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Look at that. It does say take this pin to your grave. That is pretty cool. That is very cool. Nice little details right there. We still got some more stuff in here.
Yeah.
I think I know what this one is. Actually, I don't know what this one is. I think you snuck this one in.
Oh, that's Phoebe Bridgers.
Oh, that's who that is. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
That is right. I remember seeing it.
For sure. So this one, I think, a little bit outside of pop punk, like emo window, but she does a lot of stuff with Conor Oberst and is tied into that scene and is a true emo kid at heart. And I think she has interviews, loving the genre of music that I fall in. So a good friend of mine that I met, through IG, Christy G, had that design. And I said, do you want to make it a pin? And she said, absolutely. So cool collaboration with her.
She comes on my Spotify radio whenever I listen to Pine Grove.
There you go. Yeah, see? Perfect.
All right, there's still some more stuff. All right, let's see. Let's just... Okay, a really cool sticker. Oh, I love it. It's the little things, all the small things.
There you go. Yep.
Very cool. Oh, I love that jacket. Love the jean jacket. Classic dashboard confessional sticker. And we have the matching
pin right there. There you go.
Screaming Pinfidelities.
Yeah, I honestly was sitting on this one for a while that I thought it'd be awesome to do Chris Carrabba as the emo king. My friend Christy G did the backing card, to replicate the Unplugged session. So
yeah, I remember going to FYE to buy that CD. I have it somewhere around. And
for sure.
I love what you did with the tattoos too, just like the blotches of color. Like that looks really cool.
Yeah, that was her style. I know when she reached out, she's like, this is kind of how I do tattoos. And I said, do it up. It looks great.
That is awesome. Oh, man. Nate, thank you so much for sending these over.
Absolutely.
Ooh, look at all that fire. Dang. All right, man. So back to the podcast and regularly asked questions. When making these pins, what do you think has been the most challenging things so far? Not just these pins in particular, but just your entire pin journey. What's been something very challenging?
I recently pulled all my album covers that I was doing off because I think I just sat there and went back and forth. Where I look at pins, I think so many of us, it's truly fan art. We're making things that we love, to pay tribute or honor to, something that's nostalgic to us, something that we truly love. But, I toss back and forth, like, am I kind of taking away from the artist with such like an exact replica? And, I'm doing some bigger bands that probably aren't impacted by it. So that was just like an internal struggle with me that it's like, should I do this? Should I focus on more inspired by the band, original designs? Maybe teeter the line a little bit, but not like an exact replica of their album. So that was the biggest challenge, and, kind of tossed it back and forth. And, my goal right now with them is as people order, I'll just toss them in for free to unload some of that inventory, and hopefully people, enjoy getting a free pin. But just that internal struggle and challenge, like, am I crossing a line? Am I not? So.
Sure. I for some reason, I feel like that's a very valid struggle, challenge, thought, however you want to, look at it. I feel like there's a lot of kind of like those questions being asked in a lot of like pin groups and stuff like that. With everything that's successful and that people are into, there are going to be haters too who kind of like bring that kind of stuff up. So I understand, the internal struggle. I think everyone as a pin maker, when we're working off stuff that's not necessarily ours and stuff that's a lot bigger than us, yeah, you kind of start asking yourself some things. So I think we can all relate. And I think it's a really awesome move to kind of just focus on original art. We're trying to do that ourselves. So that's pretty cool.
I've had success. Like Christy G had a podcast and Chris Carrabba talked about my pin. So, that was super cool. And then even the band Further Seems Forever, some spikes when I sell some pins. Sometimes it's super quiet. And I woke up to like 12 orders and I'm like, what the heck happened? I'm like, somebody shared this and I had no clue. And then I checked my Facebook and the band shared and like, hey, did everybody see this pin? So I'm like, that's super cool. So I think part of it's probably reaching out and asking. And I don't know a lot of band members or anything like that. So, if I ever get in the position where I can work with them, I'd love to do that. So, maybe down the road with different projects.
Yeah, for sure. Man, I feel like a lot of people are like, I wish I could work with this or I wish I could work with that. So I say, just reach out to those people when you're ready, of course, because it can be a lot. You kind of want to have a plan. Maybe you want to have like a mock up or two or something solid. You don't want to just be like, hey, man, let's do this and it'll be awesome. And just like, it's just another like dud DM,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I think it's very possible. Like, so we talked about the early November. I remember when they were releasing their last album, Lilac, I reached out to Joe, the guitarist, and I was like, hey, man, you guys make pins? I make pins, and I would love to help you guys make pins if you're trying to promote the new album and stuff like that. Turns out they already had contacted a manufacturer about making pins, but he was like really nice over email. And, maybe if I had sent that email a little earlier, that could have been me who was making the pins.
Yeah, for sure.
But you have nothing to lose trying to reach out to the band directly, especially if you're like, I don't know, just really nice about it and really genuine, and you have good intentions. You send enough DMs, someone will reply.
Yeah, yeah.
So, do you have any advice for folks looking to get into the pin game?
Yeah, I think your podcast, number one, anyone looking to get in the pin game, I think so much knowledge and information is dropped. I mean, you have some seasoned veterans talking about, challenges with pins. This Sunday, I actually turned 1 year old with the company. So I'm learning pin by pin. And I think your pin company can truly be whatever you want it to be. There's individuals that have multiple avenues that they work on. Then there's somebody like me where I try to stay focused with my genre of pins. And I think you can hustle or you can, do what you want to do. I don't post every other day. I don't, repeat the same post over and over that, if I want to post, I post. I don't get caught up in the Instagram world and the algorithm and all of that, I just try to let it be natural. So, set realistic goals for yourself. I think for me, goal number one was to sell a pin. So, I'll take that as a win and honestly do what you want to do with it.
I love that. Set realistic goals.
Yeah.
Really important. Really important. We're not the first design that you come out with. You are not going to sell all 50 or 100 unless you pre-order. Then
Yeah.
Great advice. And I just have to say, it's an honor to share my birthday with Screaming Pinfidelities' birthday.
There you go, man.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
Also, there's actually one more pin in the envelope. And I was like, oh man, he didn't send the one that I was like really looking forward to, but I'm pretty sure that this is it.
Pretty short.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, this is the Say Anything Is a Real Boy, like tree branch on the record cover.
Guess a nose tree branch,
the
right?
Nose tree branch, that's correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, with this one I tried to go a different route with a backing card, and it's pretty flimsy, and it's one of those things that drives me nuts. But no logo on the back or anything. So one of my early designs, but
I love
definitely one, nice, clean backing card matches the album.
Yes. And this was like one of my favorite albums. Again, matching, nice little touch with the rubber backings, the same color as the album. This is what I'm definitely gonna rock. And it's like, if you know, you know.
You know. That's what looking at, anybody looks at it, it's a tree branch. But if you know, you know.
Yeah. Oh man, that's awesome. Let me just. Okay, yeah, we're done.
Nothing else.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Nate.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk marketing for a minute. How do you get the word out there about your pins?
Honestly, for me, my goal is that my followers, I just hope that they share it, that, they have a nostalgia vibe with the pin. And, when they get it, they post about it, share a story, check out Screaming Pinfidelities. And, I hope that organic growth from there, that people, come over, check out the IG and, like the content that I put out there and give me a follow. That's my advice. I don't have an Etsy account. Screaming Pinfidelities is too many characters. So never signed up. So advice for some pin makers, I could shorten it down, but if you want to be on Etsy, double check the characters before naming your brand.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, I went to log in and I forget, it's like 23 and mine exceeds it by like 2 or something. So yeah. And then marketing and like content. I've got 2 good friends, the buddy that bought me my first pin, Adlib Collective. And then I've got another great friend this year, Photo Company, that they help me out taking some killer photos. I try to, have clean, sharp images for all of my posts. So
You definitely do. That was one thing that did stand out. I think it's cool that, you're not necessarily posting every day because that can lead to some like severe burnout. But what you are posting is quality content. And I think that's, more important in the long run of things. And it looks great on the website too. What platform are you using?
I use Squarespace.
Squarespace. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
How's that working out?
I mean, for what I'm using it for, great. But again, listening to your podcast and hearing everybody talk about Shopify, I'm like, ooh, I got to do a little research, do a little homework, just hearing about all the features and how it seems like a super smooth platform.
Yeah. Well, I didn't mean to say like, oh, how's that going? Like thinking that like Squarespace was like less superior. Squarespace is a great platform. Squarespace is actually where we are hosting pinpalspodcast.com. They got their strengths and weaknesses, just like any other, e-commerce platform and stuff like that. But I don't think that there are too many people who I've talked to who are on Squarespace. So that's why I asked. I was just like genuinely interested. No problems like printing out labels and stuff like that from the back end.
No, so through Squarespace, everything took a little, trial and error to truly figure out the website. But, orders come in, able to, fulfill the orders, get the shipping out to everyone. And then it just directs me to PayPal. And that's where I can do all my, if I have a successful day with maybe 12 orders or something, I can, bulk that shipping and print them all out. But, for what I'm doing with my pin company, it's a pretty smooth, pretty painless over there.
Cool. Well, that's good to hear. Squarespace is pretty affordable too. Last time I checked, I don't know what it is to sell products, but definitely cheaper than Shopify.
Yeah, I do the annual, and I can't remember what it is, but of course, found like the 15 or 20% off, and
yeah, it's some random podcast.
Yeah, did that, and have been doing it since. So
yeah, well, that's cool that you're not, there's no hiccups or anything like that. It's just another cool platform, and their templates are awesome.
Super easy.
Yeah. What other social media platforms are you on? I think you mentioned Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, mainly Instagram's my go-to, and then just link everything to Facebook. Don't put a lot of effort into it. Doing the cheap route where just copy everything over to Facebook. But for me right now, it's truly just Instagram is my main source.
Cool. It's definitely one easier on the mind to not have to think about multiple platforms, but you just go all in on Instagram.
Mm-hmm. All in. Yep.
I love it.
Yeah, that's hearing about, you guys talked about TikTok and all of that, and I see it. And it's probably my age where I'm like, I just don't know if I can go down that road just yet.
Yeah.
Just seems like a lot, and I'm not there.
Yeah, I haven't made a TikTok probably. Oh, well, I'm starting to promote the podcast on the Warrior Pins TikTok, but prior to that, I was like, I need to step away from this. Like, this is just too much, because then you get sucked into the feed of all the BS, and it's just like, what am I watching? Like,
Yeah.
come on, like I should be editing the podcast instead of watching this stuff.
For sure.
And it's crazy. But like I say in all the other episodes, I think it's important to be aware, at least have a presence. If you're going to make an account, throw up a couple posts and have fun with it, explore. Because it's just like every new platform that comes out is going to be what we rave about, the Instagram glory days, but just on a different platform. So you just kind of have to work it and, experiment and see if it works. You ever need help with TikTok, man? Let me know. Maybe I'll make you some TikToks. I got some pins here. How about that?
There you go. And that's where I think it's time being a dad, and doing this on the side, that it's, a hobby, little passion project for myself that, if time frees up and I can really dive deep into the world and
I love it.
Try new things. So, time's huge for everyone.
Yes, absolutely. What's your favorite way to connect with your audience?
Honestly, just through post. And then, anyone that reaches out through a message, engage there. It's super cool to get any feedback from individuals that, reach out, just to say, love your pin, share your content. It's super exciting. So that's the main thing, just normal post, and if individuals message, have conversations.
Nice. Yeah. I always love to expand those conversations. Like, hey, how are you? How's it going? Who is your favorite Ninja Turtle? Oh, is that so?
Yeah.
I love it. Well, maybe because we're also, at the end of the pandemic, but still craving more interaction with people.
Absolutely.
Okay. So do you do any advertising on social media or Google or anything like that?
I've only done one sponsored post. I did a giveaway a while back with some individuals, and thought, I'll throw $20 towards a sponsored post. So no, everything I've done, I broke 1,000 followers under a year. So, again, setting realistic goals, that was super exciting to do that. No advertising.
Okay. I don't know if you heard that motorcycle going by. Yeah. I live on a pretty busy street and I don't have anything isolated.
Yeah.
So I asked you that question because I was going to ask, this is something I'm asking, kind of workshopping in a couple episodes. But if you had a marketing budget of $100 given to you, maybe by your neighbor,
yeah, for sure.
How do you think that you would want to spend it? After doing this for nearly a year.
I'd consider. Definitely doing some sponsored posts here and there, and huge on freebies and orders. So, an extra $100 can be an extra order of stickers to throw in your package. So everyone loves free stuff with their pins. So you throw in that sticker. I did this little postcard. So, things like that. That's exactly what I'd be throwing $100 towards.
I like that. That's really cool. We got to make something smaller like this too. We got like regular sized square postcards, but they're kind of like not as thick as this. This is nice, my friend.
Yeah. And there's a guy that did the jacket. His Instagram's JAFEE82. He's from the UK, and he reached out originally and was talking to me. He does flash art prints, and he does different band lyrics, and each page is for separate bands. So him and I started a great relationship through IG, and we were chatting. He said, anything I can do for you, and said, I've got this idea for the denim you've come to flare the most, and he hooked me up with it.
It is really cool. You got your own pins on here, which is dope. But I just get a close up on the threading of that patch is very real.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
For sure. And then that's, a nice way that I can write my little handwritten note to each customer.
Yeah, that's really nice. I did like that. Thank you, Nate.
Yeah.
Have you ever vended at any shows?
No. So, starting in COVID, Never vended at shows. And that's what, for me with my market, I've never been to an emo night or anything, but that would be something that I would want to venture into. Like, I'm probably like an hour and a half away from Pittsburgh. And, I know they have different emo nights there where it's like, could I set up a table? Because that would be my audience coming in
That is literally your audience.
to listen to some pop punk tunes. So it may not be a pin show, but listening to your podcast, hearing about vending and what can you do to get in front of your specific audience, that would be an avenue that, once things start opening up, try to maybe venture out and go to some emo nights if they'd allow me to sell, my pins there. Cause I think it'd be a great way to meet customers, get new followers and have that connection.
Oh yeah. I've never been to an emo night. I want to go so bad. There was one where Ace and Kenny from the starting line showed up. I think it was like down in Philly. Oh
Yeah.
man, what a kill to be there.
Yeah.
But that's really cool. I could totally see your pins kind of just as like, back there with all the merch and stuff like that. I can just see it being a hit. That is your audience. It's like that's even better than going to Patches and Pins, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, you got to make that happen.
Yeah, I'm sure there'd be individuals that would hit home with, but that is truly my audience right there, checking out these pins and relating to it and grabbing one.
That is cool. Well, maybe you can also think about like Warp Tour and stuff like that come through.
Yeah,
that would be kind of cool. I mean, that's also your audience right there.
For sure. Probably more DMs trying to get into stuff like that, like bigger tours, because they're probably more constraints than maybe like a local Pittsburgh based somebody throwing an emo night where it's like, can I sneak in here? Will you let me sell some pins?
Yeah. Well, dream big, maybe one day.
Yeah, for sure.
That'd be cool. Going on tour with Warp Tour with your pins.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool. I've always wanted to do some sort of tour. Like I want to look at what cities have ordered the most from us and then visit them or do some sort of tour poster. Actually, with one of the releases of our rock and roll Raphael pin, which is based, I'm looking at my pin board right now. I'm trying to find it. It was one of the last ones that we released. Once we sold out of them, everyone who ordered it, I wanted to take their city, their town, their state, and put it into a poster that I'll design and print that out. And then someday or throughout my lifetime, just check off like these cities and like do an official Warrior Pins meetup, even if it's only with like the one other person who like bought the pin. I think that would be pretty cool. I've always wanted to take the pins out on the road and like do the show, have a van and just like sling pins like from there, not in a creepy way.
Yeah. No, that poster idea is rad. Even for a little piece of artwork for your place. I'd do that up. Yeah. A little tour poster of everyone that bought one. Every city. That's super cool, man.
Just having fun with it. That's
for
it
sure.
Came out of nowhere. I didn't release the pin thinking that idea. I'm like, oh, how do I make this like more fun? And how do I connect with my audience? And it's like putting their city right on a postcard. I would probably honestly just like mail them out in an envelope to everyone who's ordered it and put it up for sales, like a nice print or something like that. But oh man, I need to revisit that idea. I need to push those pins.
Yeah, that's such a cool idea.
Cool. So before we move on to the Q&A, rapid fire, what have you, do you have any final marketing advice for our audience?
Honestly, I think just be true to who you are. However you want to run your business, however you want to do it. If you want to grind, you want to hustle, do it. If you want to, sell some pins and throw some posts out there and try to build an audience organically, just do it up. Do however you want to do it.
There shouldn't be anything holding you back. If this is something you want to do, just go for it. There are tons of excuses that we can all make. I've made a ton. Nate, you're married and you have 2 kids. Like you're still doing it. Like
yeah, for sure. And that's what for me, I mean, I even sat on my first pin. Like I had it and sat on it, just, nervous to take that leap into it. Then I told myself, well, I need another pin. I just can't have one pin and start my business. But that's not true. Could have just threw it out there and started from there. And then honestly, after I had my pin, I got the backing card, got it up, and then Tom DeLonge shared this whole boomer line, and I was like, oh boy, missed my mark there. And I almost thought, like, I can't sell this. And then it's like, yeah, I can, just do it. You don't have to sit and wait. Put your designs out there and see what happens.
You have nothing to lose.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this is relative, but it's, kind of not an insignificant amount, but it's a low amount of money. Take a risk. That's what risks
Mm-hmm.
are all about. You're going to lose something. If you're going to only lose a couple $100s, then be happy. It's only a couple $100 and that's it. Applaud yourself for giving it a shot.
Yeah. And I think one advice I have, if you sell out of pins and you got a good following, awesome. Like take that as a huge win. But if not, pins, like you mentioned, not a crazy expense, but it's just inventory that you have. That when people do discover you, they'll be grabbing those pins that maybe aren't, selling off the shelves or anything. So, even if a pin doesn't do great, it's solid inventory that when somebody finds you, they may grab that, or free pins that you throw in orders. So,
and I think when you're as niche and that niche isn't like huge, I think it's just natural. I think it's just normal for it to kind of take time, not necessarily going to sell out unless you have like a huge following or a big name attached to it. So, it's managing those expectations and just kind of like keeping it real and being like, I know I'm not going to sell out of a bunch, but, to those that do buy them, these are people who are connecting with this pin, and that's like pretty freaking fulfilling.
For sure. 100%.
All right, man. Some Q&A to wrap up this lovely episode of Pin Pals. Are you the type of person who prefers soft enamel or hard enamel pins?
Soft enamel.
Okay, why is that?
I've never ventured down hard enamel, but I just look at a soft enamel. I love the grooves. I love, just the texture of it. That's what I really like about soft enamel.
I dig that. Yeah, me too. What's been the most recent addition to your pin collection?
I just got a pin from a company called Dead Disco that it's a alien spaceship with a ray coming down, and it says, I'm not like you. So I'll probably be doing a post here soon with that pin and my pin as a good combo.
Yeah, that does sound like a great combo. All right, we'll make sure that we post that up when this episode drops. What's a pin that you cannot live without? It's a silly question.
For sure. I thought of this. I know you ask, like, everyone's like, what's your first pin? I never grew up going to Disney, so I have no Disney pin. But pretty new to this. That my first pin that a classic. It was by DOS Bootleg. He does some like cool movie themed shirts that are all black and white, but it's the Drive jacket pin, which I've seen other pin makers do, but just love this movie. And honestly, that was my first pin as an adult that I bought and started from there.
I like that. That's nice. That looked clean. That looked like a hard enamel pin.
It's soft. Yeah.
Oh, damn. You fooled me. You got me.
Yeah.
What is your favorite pin hashtag to use on Instagram?
Trying to think. Probably just, I think Pin Game Strong is a classic for me to throw that out there.
He's a Pin Game Strong person. All right.
Yeah.
I respect that. I can get behind that. I'm also Pin Game Strong. I think I have that book somewhere. It's not within arm's reach. But Pin Lord came out with a book called Pin Game Strong. And it's just like a little coffee table book, shows you ins and outs of enamel pins and highlighting all these makers. But
yeah.
Cool. Anyway, yeah, a staple in most pin makers hashtag sets.
I have not purchased that book. I've looked at it, never purchased it as well. But yeah, such a cool little book.
Did I say purchased? I meant to say someone gave it to me.
There you go.
Anyways, what's your favorite place to rock a pin?
Hat, 100%. I mean, love a bag, but I'm a hat person. So, you know, a nice way to throw a little pin up there.
Me too, but it's hard to back that me too statement up when I have a naked hat. I just got this hat in today, so I haven't had a chance to figure out what I'm going to put in it. But what kind of hats are you rocking nowadays? Because I'm thinking about making hats, so I just want to talk to people about hats.
Me too. My neighbor with his company, he typically makes like a hat every year. Always get a free one, so love it. I want to make a hat as well. I think just because I want my own hat. So I rock a couple different hats. Like I've got a wool hat. I've got, you know, your like classic
He's got his hats on standby.
baseball hat. Yeah. He's wearing
Nice.
it earlier before the podcast. So there you go. Rocking my own little pin on the hat.
There you go. I see that.
Yeah, there's so many different styles.
Yeah, there's a bunch, and I have a bunch. I love wearing hats. I have your snapbacks, your dad hats, your 5 panels, all that stuff, your fitteds. And that's cool when like you're a person who wears all these hats, but when it comes to actually making them, it's like, what do I do? I'm finding myself just throwing out polls on the feed and just having people be like, just tell me like what you prefer, like because that's probably what we're gonna make if enough people say so. But I'm seeing like dad hats or like the 5 panel hats being one of the two that I'll probably make.
Yeah, that's what I've looked at. I think 5 panel seems classic.
Yeah, that's what I'm rocking right now. My buddy Underground Dojo
Nice.
makes a bunch of like cool and TMNT inspired stuff. This hat was for sale on his site, so I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna pick it up because I love the color. I love the light gray, but I love like the neon. Like it almost glows like in the video. It's really cool, and it's made out of nylon, which I think keeps it nice and light and breathable. So like going out on a hike, like I can dip my head in water, dip the hat in water, not really worry about it. It's got this like modern clasp. It's not your like classic snapback, but it's still pretty cool. And I'm like, I got this. I'm like, damn, I could definitely see like a turtle right in the front. So
For sure.
if you're listening, leave a comment. Let me know what kind of hats you want. Let me know what kind of hats you want Nate to make. Let me know what kind of hat collab you want to see between the two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could go on and on. Okay, but cool. That's your favorite place to rock a hat or rock a pin. Excuse me. A lot of hat talk.
Yeah.
Are you a Ninja Turtle fan, man?
Yes, my son. I think it's on Hulu right now. I don't know what era it is, but
The 2012 series, the animated one.
Yeah. So he's been throwing that on. But for me, growing up 90s, so the classic cartoon of the Ninja Turtles, and then always
Nice.
What is it? Secret of the Ooze, #2.
Yes.
That's my jam. That is my jam when it comes to turtles.
All right. Okay, so I started doing this. I think I want to continue doing this. But I'm having a tough time reading you, Nate. I like to figure out kind of who everyone's favorite Ninja Turtle is. It could be one Ninja Turtle. It could be multiple Ninja Turtles. I'm having a hard time picking a vibe from you, my friend. You know, the cop-out answer is I could see all 4 of them in you, you know? But if I had to pick one, Nate, you seem calm, cool, collected. You got your together, you know? You're slinging pins. You got some cool guitars, making music, got the family. You got it. I'm going to go, ooh. I keep going back and forth between Leo or Donatello.
I feel like you're gonna sway my decision with that and be like, yeah. I'd say my favorite turtle, Mikey, all the way.
Oh, Mikey. Yes.
Love, you know.
I could see the Mikey in you for sure. You threw that up a couple times. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
I do that all the time as well. Damn, Mikey. All right, man. Well, that just means that we're going to have to sit down, have some pizza so I don't make that mistake ever again.
Absolutely.
I want to see the inner Mikey in you.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound creepy, does it?
No.
So Life is full of regrets, unfortunately. Regrets happen. It is what it is. What is one regret that you have with the pin business?
Small regret, one of those like little things is just my first couple backing cards. Wish I had logo on the back, a little blurb. I don't take my pins too serious, not looking to make
Okay.
a lot of money. So, it's just, I don't know if I have too many. My regrets would probably be just waiting. Like, I think we all get wrapped up in our mind, like, that Instagram write-up's got to be perfect, but it doesn't. Probably most people don't even read them the whole way through.
Or don't even see them.
Don't even see them. Yeah, that too. So I think sometimes it's just the waiting and thinking like, that's not right. Just put it out there.
I like that. You sound like, again, someone who's just, who knows what he wants. And it's just
Mm-hmm.
like, you're okay with where things are with the pins and how it's going. That I'm picking up, and I love that.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, no problem, man. What's life like as a pin maker?
It's more hectic as a parent. Life is life as a pin maker, I think for all pin makers, truly holding the design, the final product in your hands is just where it's at, makes you feel so good. And then, when people share your content, rock your pins, huge win.
Yeah, for sure. I guess, in a pin maker sort of way, it's like having a baby.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, watching it grow, and then you let it out there.
Yeah. So would you say that that's probably the most rewarding thing about being a pin maker?
Yeah. We make pins because we want people to wear them. We want people to rep them, talk about them. So that's the most rewarding thing.
I like that. Yeah, that is very true. Last question, Nate. I like to end the podcast by asking all of my guests this, just because I think it's a cool little unique question asking about the little things in life. What are they for you, Nate?
Right now, hanging out with my family, hanging out with my kids. I have a 4-year-old and a 6-month-old. So, spending time with them. That's number one.
I love
Those are
that.
the little things.
That's it, man.
Yep.
I love that. Well, Nate, you made it to the end of Pin Pals. How do you feel?
I love it, dude. It's an honor to be asked to be on your pin podcast. Super cool. Super exciting.
Man, thank you. Of course, I had to have you on here. Again, I could relate to these pins. This was really cool, and it's not a matter of getting like the biggest or best names out there or anything like that. We all can relate to each other. I guess because I'm calling the shots, I just relate to your pin. So I'm like, I just want to talk to this dude. He seems pretty cool, and the pins look great. So I just want to thank you for your time. Thank you for sending these pins. I can't wait to start throwing them up on the gram and on my jacket and on my hats and just go crazy. Thank you again, Nate. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Again, thank you. And I'll share this because by the time the podcast comes out, but this will be my newest release. It is a little make pin shore pin right here. So I'll be dropping this on my 1-year anniversary.
Love it. Love it.
Send that over to you, man.
Thank you. Oh man, you don't have to do that. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to give you the floor. Feel free to shout out any of your homies or homieettes. Tell the people where they can find you and what you have going on.
Cool. You can find Screaming Pinfidelities, Instagram, Facebook. Again, IG is the main source that I throw out everything on. Honestly, couldn't do this company without the support of my friends that, give me feedback, let me bounce ideas off of them. So Adlib Collective, photo video company here in Pennsylvania. Great individuals. Brother Volcano, he does all my backing cards. He does his own original art, super creative. Christy G, somebody I met through IG, just a great person. She rocks a podcast as well. And then This Year Photo Company, my buddy Corey that helps me out with doing photos. Those are my homies that truly support me with this.
I love it. Big shout out to the support system. You guys are doing something special.
I got a buddy named Rod that's done some drawings for me. So
Very cool. Well, Nate, thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure. I can't wait to play with these pins like a little kid in his toys. I appreciate it, and I hope one of these days our paths cross either at an Emo Night, Patches and Pins Expo. We'll figure it out. I think we're both on the East Coast, so we'll try and make that happen.
cool. Thank you again, man.
No problem. Have a good one. We'll talk soon.
Have a good one.